Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another StockTwits executive interview. We are here with Luke Norman, chairman of US Gold Corp. Luke, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Katie.
We're really excited to talk to you because we've been talking about gold a lot this year and on our programs that we run. And I know you all are a And I know you all are a US-based exploration and development company focusing on gold, but other precious metals too. So curious to learn a little bit about more about you, a little bit about the company. So for investors just getting to know US Gold Corp, Luke, can you introduce yourself, walk us through the company's mission, and what makes your strategy unique in today's gold, copper, silver market?
Certainly. My name's Luke Norman. I'm co-founder and executive chairman of US Gold Corp. One unique aspect is US Gold is NASDAQ listed, which is not a traditional exchange for developers or even gold miners in general. But we're listed on NASDAQ under the trading symbol USAU. And we have a gold and copper deposit. I emphasize and copper just outside of Cheyenne, Wyoming. Now, that's in the bottom right corner of Wyoming, so about an hour and a quarter drive north of Denver International Airport. And we're full steam ahead with some critical minerals in the US.
Great. And I know you guys have had a pretty impressive run up year to date, and recently some exciting news around the Russell Index inclusion. Can you put some color around when that happened, what investors might expect as a result?
Yeah. Okay. Well, firstly, to the run up. Started around mid-November of last year, and I wouldn't even call that a run-up, Katie. Really, what it is now just a recognition or appreciation of what we've achieved in the 3.5, 4 years prior to that by way of fundamentals. So what the trigger was there is we received our full permits to mine, and that's a really important feat because junior mining companies and even senior mining companies anywhere in North America are having an impossible time getting permits through federal bureaucracy and all the other challenges that are out there these days. So what we did, a project being in Wyoming, we were dealing with the state of Wyoming directly. And we managed to achieve the Holy Grail permits. Now with the new administration, of course, they're working towards trying to free up the spigots on it. But mid-November, we started being able to talk to the public about now our advancement into development production. So between November and now, so a little over 6 months, you've seen some capital appreciation, but I don't think it's even relatively close to where we're headed.
Right. And what you're referencing in Wyoming, is that the CK Gold project?
Yes.
Okay.
So, CK is an acronym for Copper King. So a combination of gold and copper.
Got it. And so I'm seeing that, as you mentioned, it's fully permitted and it has a pre-feasibility study going. So how should people think about, commercial viability, readiness? What are the next steps between what you've achieved so far and actually, getting in there and getting the good stuff out?
Yeah. Well, look, getting the good stuff out, and it truly is the good stuff, copper and gold. Well, I'll touch on that quickly. So the Trump administration have added copper and gold to the critical minerals list in the US. So, quite fortuitous timing for us. I sort of picked up this key phrase I've been using a bit lately: the right stuff, the right place at the right time. Actually, the federal change makes no difference to us ultimately because we are permitted. But getting through that permit phase, that's a long, boring, arduous phase. You can imagine, Katie, that was a 4-year period, whereas if you're an investor in my company, you would have been, not much excitement going on. Now we're taking our permits, we're taking this pre-feasibility study, we're doing final engineering, which is really just now going and meeting with the contractors that we're going to work with, who are going to provide the services to help build the mining operation. And we are going to build this mine. So a lot of news is going to start to percolate through the coming weeks and months. And as that goes on, it gets what is called a revaluation. So the marketplace, the analysts, everyone in behind the story gives it a revaluation around the asset. Well, as you've mentioned, on top of that, the Russell inclusion, which I guess would be another form of validation, really. It's a market cap. We moved into the realm of the top 3,000 market caps in the US. That is going to have obviously a very big effect on the company as well. So between Vanguard and BlackRock purchasing their positions, they need a 10% weighting in the company, plus other follow-on mirror funds. It's going to be an exciting time to be a shareholder.
And it's an exciting time too, just because of the interest that a lot of investors and surprisingly younger investors have in gold in general. So I was just talking to an analyst that was telling me that they were looking at Gen Z millennial investors, and there's a real appetite there. So it seems like you all could potentially play into this newfound interest in an asset that you would never think, when we were doing the meme stock thing, that young people would be going crazy for gold. But how do you think about positioning alongside a trend that investors, specifically younger investors, are already interested in?
Well, one of our largest investors, and this is from 2020, when we first started working towards the development of the company, is one of the largest crypto miners on the planet. Now, I won't disclose his name because he's not in any public disclosures, but he was formative in creating three of the largest crypto miners publicly listed, and he's actually an insider of one of them to this day. And his statement to me is, if you own crypto, you must own gold. So you've got your digital decoupling from fiat currencies, and then you have obviously the physical decoupling from fiat currencies, and that is gold. And look, gold has been money for 5,000 years, right? So it's only been 50 years. Bretton Woods was the final stage of Bretton Woods. It was the early 70s. I don't want to drone on, but ultimately the US dollar became the reserve currency, and it was decoupled from gold. And gold was what kept it honest. So that's why we're seeing so much paper printing. So it doesn't surprise me that the younger generations who are very intelligent are starting to recognize, well, hey, we can have a digital decoupling and some form of physical decoupling.
Yeah, fascinating. That's exactly what the analyst told me. I asked if it was an either or, and he said mostly it was a both. So that lines up with exactly the anecdote you share. Let's move outside of Wyoming for a bit. Wyoming is a beautiful place, but you guys also have projects elsewhere, specifically in Nevada and Idaho. Let's go through these. What's going on in these places?
You know what? I won't do a deep dive into Idaho because the Nevada asset's too exciting.
Okay.
My previous iteration to this company was a very successful explorer in Nevada called Gold Standard Ventures. That was based around Nevada is, if it was a standalone country, it would be the third or fourth largest gold producer on the planet. Just not many people realize that. Nevada produces massive amounts of gold, okay? Two big companies that operate there are Barrick Gold and Newmont. And these guys are depleting their mineral reserves. You got to imagine when you're mining, you're taking something out of the ground. You need to replace that through discovery. And they rely on companies like ours to make those discoveries, and then they purchase them. So Keystone is located just 10 miles away from Barrick's flagship group of assets, which is the Cortez complex. So we have a very similar looking geological district. District means a hunting area where we could find multiple deposits of gold within it. And I call that the golden lottery ticket in US Gold Corp right now. We've not been deploying capital into that project because we have been advancing a development stage asset. We hate dilution, as you can see by our capital structure. We only have 13.8 million shares out. So why? We're aligned with the shareholders. We are shareholders. So we've not wanted to dilute the company down and chase our exploration asset in Nevada, Keystone. However, there's a very good chance that we will do some form of spin out of that asset in the coming months. And that would, of course, be a dividend type share opportunity for shareholders of record to have a second kick at a highly exciting, what could be massive opportunity in Nevada.
And Luke, you bring over 20 years of industry experience in this space. I'm curious how your team is leveraging the big project experience. I can't even imagine all the steps that must go into this, from the permitting all the way down to the end. How do you think about partnering with more junior companies, players in the space, to sort of lift the entire project overall and get to where you want to go?
I almost feel like we're going to be more of a consumer of other companies as we move along because, yes, 20 years, almost 25 years, but I'm predominantly capital markets. So I'm in charge of raising the capital for the company and ensuring that, our capital structure is in good shape, that the institutional investors are aware of what we are doing, conducting interviews like this, just letting our investors know and prospective investors know what we're doing. However, at the helm, we brought on a CEO in 2020 by the name of George B. And that is his surname. It's not an initial, it's BEE. So George has built the largest gold mines on the planet for Barrick. He operated Gold Strike, which was the first big gold mine in Nevada, and moved on to building some of the, again, biggest gold mines on the planet for Barrick in South America. So if there's anyone proficient at digging a hole and turning the minerals therein into large profits, it is George. So we've got a really, really well-rounded, well-focused team that know how to take care of capital markets and how to extract gold from a mineral deposit. So again, I think we're more inclined to use this opportunity to go and buy other mining opportunities throughout the US and North America in general, rather than just be consumed.
And I know you recently completed a Digby ESG assessment.
Yes.
That's not something many or all junior miners are doing. Can you quickly voice over why that was something important, something you prioritized?
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, we want to meet ESG front on. Now, I do feel like there has been a little bit more of a softening from an ESG perspective in the US amongst big companies. But one of the biggest complaints I've heard from institutional investors is that the mining industry have not kept pace with that. And there's a certain level that you can get to within ESG compliance in the mining sector in particular, called your equator principles, where what level you're at in terms of being able to show people that you're going to do things environmentally in check, that you're taking care of social license, all that carry on. So what we want to do is have an independent review of what we've done and achieved to date, which is that Digby report, and we conducted it with that view. Basically, not me telling you that we're complying by way of ESG, but having a fully independent review board take a look and award us points relative to that.
Got it. And then looking ahead, so next 6 to 12 months, you sort of alluded to some of what you're working on with these projects, perhaps becoming a consumer as a company. But at a high level, what are the key things you're focused on? It could be financing, partnerships. What should investors kind of have in mind as they look ahead to the rest of this year?
Absolutely. So, the marketplace has just simply been digesting our permits to mine. That's why you've seen an accretive share price over the last, like I said, 6 months or so. But now we're really getting to the formative stage. Now we're about to sign contracts with equipment providers, power providers, all that stuff coming to the fold is going to show the investment community that this is getting built and we're moving ahead at full steam. As that occurs, there's also project financing. Now, I'll reiterate, we are investors and shareholders in this company. So the last thing we're going to do is blow our capital structure up with some heinous equity dilution event that's going to lead to us all just going sideways for forever. The solutions for finance, for project level finance, to build the final stages of this what will be mining operation, anywhere from all the off-takers out there, the people who want to purchase the copper and gold, who are offering us capital right now, to the large banks that invest in this space, and ultimately federal and state grants that we're exploring right now. So we require about another $300 million to be up and into production. We're finalizing all that carry on right now, but once that's secured, that again will have a huge revaluation on the company. So we've kept with all our markers, all our promises, and every single hurdle that we've run into, we've managed to get past, like we'd promised to do from the start. So pretty confident it's going to be a big news year for the second half of this year.
Yeah, the momentum must feel really good. And again, thank you, Luke Norman, Exec Chairman and co-founder of US Gold Corp. I'm also just noticing your ticker is perfect.
Yeah.
USAU.
USAU.
Taking me back to high school chemistry, but that is quite the perfect ticker you got there. Thanks again for coming on today.
Thank you, Katie.